See, when a shell burst, it had a radius, you know. Now, I got into an argument with an officer. He said, he's firing shrapnel last night. He said, we covered his shrapnel down in our village. I said, they're not. I said, we haven't fired any shrapnel. I said, we're not allowed to fire it. Only time we're allowed to fire was if a plane was right low down and there was no houses out round about, we could fire it then, you know. And that was coming in to you and going out. See, with 1.2 fuse coming in, facing you, and 0.3 going out, you know.
So only at a certain angle when you fire then? You couldn't fire when it was overhead or anything?
Oh, we used to fire over right straight up, 4-5, angle 4-5, 5-4, you know.
These guns, could you move the barrel quickly? Or did it move slowly?
Oh, no, you had to move by hand.
Oh, you have to move by hand?
Yeah. You got big ones, the same, big, the 4-5s were done, but they were on roller races. And when we were mobile ones, you could touch it with your finger, you could shove going round with your finger.
Really?
You know, these roller races, they were that good.
How big were the shells you fired?
You used to have cases that high. It'd be about a 56-pound shell, and it was about 92 pound altogether, with casing like a rifle ball. It was a casing with a shell together, and it'd be about 92 pound. So I think it'd be about 56-pound shell. You know, and they had a long way to go. They got up there.
How many people would man one of these guns?
We'd about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Say around about 13.
13 on one gun.
Yes.
What was your specific role on the gun?
Well, you see, you've got 2 gun layers.
Yes.
You've got your breech operator. You've got 2 fuse setters. You know, and then you got chaps fetching ammunition out at lockers. You know, because we had lockers out guns points. Yes. You know, and then to fetch them out and then to take caps off and that. About 13, as I say, on the big ones, on 4-5s.
So your gun was bigger than many of the other ones that were out there, or about the same, would you say?
Pardon?
Was your gun bigger than most of the other ones they were using?
Well, the biggest we had was 4-5s. Well, we had 3-7s later on, you know. We once went to onto Times Papers newspapergram, you know, down south. We went for 3 days. It was short of men. So we went for 3 days, and there was their 3-7s, you know. And we were firing pretty regular at that time.
Yes.
But if he was on the path of the planes coming in raiding,
yes,
you're all right. But if he wasn't, he'd go out of range most of the time.
Yes.
Because people couldn't understand why you see, we say a plane's 15,000 feet. Now, you got your vertical range, and then you got your slant range. Now, it's according to instruments, it's in range, but it isn't.
Yeah.
Because you've got the slant range, you know, which makes it farther. So to do that out of range, we couldn't, because we had 30-second fuses on them, you know.
Yes.
Oh, we got to, but it was interesting, like, you know. But we had a bit of an instance. It was in Buddy. They were firing Africans at target practice, you know.
Yes.
And I was on Night Finder then at prime time, and one of the chaps says, "Blimey," he said, "look," he said, "we've got tracer shells now on these 3-7s, you know." And I opened my gobble light and I didn't know it was one of the officers near me. I said, "Oh," I said, "that's right." I said, ammunition wants checking out of that locker. And of course my mate, with 3 of us on range finder, says, "Why, what's to do with it?" I said, it could be damp. Well, you had a primer that went in the base of the shell, and a thermometer of mercury was at the outside, and inside that was gunpowder. Now the gunpowder was ignited by thermometer of mercury in a weak cap, and then it ignited the cordite.
Yes.
So and this took in a split second of a second, you know. And I wasn't that gunner. He says I wouldn't have to work with that gunner after. He says down the command post went down. He said no then. You had an explanation. He said there's nobody on here who knows what it was. So I told him about when it could it'd be damp. It could go green round damp primer, you know. I said no. If it's damp, I said you get an hang fire. And it goes up, and it's like a tracer shell, because the cordite's still burning it, and it's sticking to the base of the shell, you know. Oh, and what was it? He says, how do you know all about it? I said, well, before I came up, I said, I was at Coventry. I said, and they pledged examination, and so we went check through it. I said I was with one of the explosives fellas, you know, from the factory.
Yeah.
And he told me what to look for and how to look, you know, this fella. And, that'll give you a good laugh. Went into this munition place for some boxes, and there's 2 shells in the 3-7s in a tin box like that, you know. And these rollers, you know, and these fellas were throwing them down on rollers, you know, in there. I said, yeah, lads, he says, so I stuck them down and just picked them and just threw them on the floor. He says, you're throwing that on the floor. He said, it's all right, you know, did it wake you off? He says, we tried to put wind up you, like you said, but you said you put wind up us. But see, they're protected inside. And they were powder burning. See? That was on these 3-7s. On the big guns, there were time clock. It's on time, you know.
So how accurate would you say these guns were you were using?
Pardon?
How accurate would you say your gun was?
Well, yeah, you can't really say it, to be honest. You see, what was it? How can I explain it? You see, on top of the breech, on top of the casing of the breech, because breech is inside, as you know. And there's a place to level. We went across it, we had a level. Now, when you got weather report, weather pressure and all that lot, and you had to put it into this thing and then put it on and then onto gun instruments with it, you know. But what somebody's doing don't know what they're doing, and puts the wrong one on, it could be, the shell could be miles away from where it's supposed to go. But you got used to it with practice. Well, we didn't do much of it. Sergeants did it, you know. Because what was it? I'll put it this way: they were doing the test when we come back from at WWII, and they were firing at a drogue, you know. There's towed with a plane.
Yes.
These Africans, and they were pretty good. You see, they said they haven't hit it yet. I said, oh, they won't. I said that we won't see it, because in each shell there's I think there's about an ounce of smoke. So when you see a cell burst and you see black smoke, plane might have gone 200 or 300 yards before you could see with that naked eye. You know. And of course, was it Clapham Junction? We were firing at a plane one day, and of course, shell burst was behind it, you know, and then it went out of range because we have to stop then. And a fella said, "You could return bloody bull in the lobby, you lot." But he didn't know. We didn't tell him that about it. By the time you come visual to your eyes, this little smoke burst, you know. When it had busted, that plane might have gone 300 or 400 yards at speed, you know.
Yeah.
Before you could see it.
So people who were aiming, I think they had to aim ahead of the plane.
Yeah, we see Sheriff was sitting in front, but people couldn't understand it when we was arguing one day in command post. I said, well, it's got smoke in it. I said, that's an indication so you can see what's happening. You know. He said, well, we seem to be a long way behind. I said, and when I started explaining to him about it, I said, yes, I said, but don't forget, before that smoke comes to naked eye, that plane's gone perhaps a fighter, you know, or a bomber, there's travelling on in them days, you know.